On September 9th, 2022, I came home to find my pony Fig with a very bloody and very sore front leg. I'll spare you all the gory and bloody photos, but he had basically degloved his cannon and fractured it, which meant that stall rest and some pretty intensive rehab was in order. Fig did not stall well. He was used to being outside 24/7 with his herd, so I knew that some serious adjustments would have to be made to make this experience as positive as it could be. I ended up making him an outdoor stall in his paddock so that he could continue to interact with his herd mates, which I knew would be crucial for his recovery and his mental health. I also put a camera in his stall so that I could keep an eye on him, and through this camera I discovered that he was trying to escape out of his stall, so I ended up having to raise the height of the walls, which thankfully still allowed him to interact with his friends but prevented him from trying to escape over the walls. There was a lot of care involved in this process that was painful and uncomfortable for him, but he was a trooper and really tried his best, and I'm so thankful for cooperative care because he had to receive oral meds 4 times a day, which we were able to do cooperatively, and all his bandage changes were done through open bar feeding, so while they weren't necessarily cooperative, he still was fed and he was happy, and it was as low stress as it could be given the circumstances. I also made sure to give him multiple enrichment activities throughout the day to keep him mentally stimulated, and we did regular clicker training sessions as he felt up for. He received a lot of therapy during this process to keep his body healthy and happy in the form of aromatherapy, PEMF, gemotherapy, homeopathy, and regular consistent body work. He was sedated at the beginning of this process, but as he got used to his stall, we were able to discontinue the sedation and rely solely on herbal calming supplements. He was also on strong GI support throughout this entire process and also received 24/7 access to forage in a slow feed net. After 6 weeks in the stall, the vet cleared him to move into a slightly larger paddock, which I created with temporary panels, and after another 2 weeks in there, he was cleared to be reintegrated into the herd. I learned a lot through this experience, namely the importance of preparing our horses in advance for emergency situations. Cooperative care is an absolute must for all horses. Take the time now to train your horse to accept oral meds, have their legs handled, do bandage changes, all of that before an emergency happens so that you don't end up stuck. And take the time to think about some measures that you would put into place if your horse had to be stalled in the event of an emergency. Recognize that it's not going to be perfect, but you can use Lima and the humane hierarchy to determine the best solution for your horse to allow them to continue to live as much of a species appropriate life as possible, given the challenges of the situation. I definitely wouldn't wish this situation on anybody, but I do hope that this can be a helpful resource for you and your horse if you end up in an emergency, just like Fig and I did.